Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are here featuring Baxcalibur in Reg F, and as always guys, we're going to be doing a quick team building session and then jumping into some battles to see how we did, to see if the team does function the way we plan on it functioning. And of course this series is meant to take more underdeveloped Pokemon in formats and seeing if we can give them a chance to shine. I know Baxcalibur is not really a perfect fit for that, but given that it has seen a lot of success in the past and basically nothing in Regulation F, we're going to make that work here today. So I really want to pressure Landorus here to start things off, and we're going Ice Shard. That is my immediate pressure. Just, you want to be able to pick off Landorus. You want to be able to threaten Landorus at any point in the match. And there's two builds that Baxcalibur tends to have, generally speaking, and that's your Clear Amulet version and your Loaded Dice version. I'm going to go with the Clear Amulet. I don't really want to deal with Icicle Spear and Scale Shot and all that, and needing a Scale Shot to be faster. So I'm going to stick with the Ice Shard. I am going to stick with Icicle Crash as well. Unfortunately, you do not get a 100% accurate Ice move outside of going Icicle Spear, which would be one of the main ways to do that. But I think Crash and Ice Shard are definitely two of the key pieces that I want here. Generally speaking, you get to see, like, something like a Glaive Rush here. We could also just go with a ground move and say I don't need a dragon move, because realistically hitting instant is nice, but I think just 120 base power Glaive Rush is kind of broken, and then we can get out of damage by clicking Ice Shard, right? So the concept being Glaive Rush is going to make our defensives double hit, basically. Makes us guaranteed to get hit and take double damage, but if we Ice Shard that away on the beginning of the next turn, we no longer have to worry about that because that reverses the effect, or negates the effect I should say. And then of course we're just going to go Protect. As always, I'll throw some spreads in later, but we're probably going to go looking at like Terra Poison or Fire. Fire is very interesting right now because it does a very good job not only versus Flutter main, but also versus the Ogerpons, or at least Ogerpon Fire. I feel like Poison may be the most consistent and will deal with the Ogerpon Fire issues elsewhere, because my main partner here that I want to put here is also Incineroar. Just because one, Incineroar is kind of broken, and two, I think it's just really, really solid support right now, and Baxcalibur Incineroar just seems really, really good, right? Incin doesn't like the ground types. Baxcalibur is going to take care of those, no problem. And then Incin also super nice. Now I'm thinking Assault Vest, at least off the top of my head. So we'll put it in for now. And then we're just going to go with your normal, your Flare Blitz, your Knockoff, your U-Turn, and your Fake Out. Just your good old-fashioned standard Incineroar. Nothing to see here, guys. And that's what I like about Incineroar, is you just kind of get to do this. Flying did win the regional, but that was on Rocky Helmet. Did just win Toronto Regionals. I like it. I don't know if I like it on Assault Vest builds. Because I'm already living the Earth Power, right? I don't necessarily need to be tearing out of it. I think I'm just going to go consistent Grass, at least to kick off things. We also have technically, we're working our way to an Urshifu weakness, if you know what I'm saying. So Grass gives us that little bit of leeway right now. I may change it in a bit, but right now this is kind of the core that I wanted to use. Moving on from here, it becomes a little difficult, right? Because it's very easy to slap 6 good Pokemon or 5 good Pokemon around Baxcalibur, right? And I don't want to kind of default to that, and I do want to explore a little bit, but at the same time, this looks really good, like, right? Like, the only thing that struggles with this is like, the only thing I struggle with here is like Steel types, which honestly Incin helps with that. I can probably tack on some sort of ground type as well. I'm trying to build this, like back in the day, those old school Palafin balance teams? This is kind of where my mind is at when it comes to building this team. So like we're probably going to put like an Amoonguss or maybe like an Ogerpon in here as well. My initial thought is Amoonguss. It's a fighting resist off the bat. The only thing it doesn't help us versus is still, once again, that Ogerpon Fire is still being a bit of a nuisance for this team. Yeah, we get the Intimidate down, but that's pretty much all we get. So maybe it's not supposed to be Amoonguss, but the redirection into Spore support is so much better, I think, than the just to follow me. I would rather have the Spore. I think it just allows Baxcalibur to get turns onto the board, because they don't want to fall asleep, right? So it does kind of force them to play a certain way. So I think Amoonguss I like a little bit more than any of the Ogerpons. But once again, that could easily be an Ogerpon. And once again, guys, I think it almost has to be Urshifu. I'm going to explore other water types. But, like, Scarf Ursh is just incredibly, incredibly broken, especially on a team like this, right? You just get immediate pressure on the board. You start dealing with, like, the Scarf Flutter mains and all that. Not the, sorry, the Specs Flutter mains. That was not normal. We could tech, like, an Iron Bundle if we wanted to be cute. But, like, we could just put Palafin here. But, like, realistically speaking, guys, I'm pretty confident there's really not much else in terms of, like, viable water options that, like, aren't just Urshifu here. And obviously, like, 3 of these guys just won the regional. We could go Mystic Water. I don't know if I have the speed support, speed control for that, because I don't really want Tailwind on a team like this. So something like this makes sense. You probably go Booster Energy here. Probably your pretty standard set. I'm not going to go Thunderwave for the video, guys. If you wanted to go Thunderwave, I don't think it's bad. I will not be using it for the video. Fairy. I'll throw the sets in a bit, guys. I'll do a little behind the scenes magic, and we'll have all our sets in. Probably looking at either Rocky Helmet or Citrus Berry. I do like Citrus Berry a lot. It just allows me to survive turns. This is gonna definitely be probably Terra Water. And then Urshifu. I think we go like we either go Scarf, Terra Water, and get aggressive, just to pressure Ogerpons with a little bit of a faster piece, or I go Mystic Water. I think because Baxcalibur is kind of fitting that like middling speed role, I think I do kind of want to just go Choice Scarf and just put on immediate pressure. Just straight up get pressure onto the board with Choice Scarf. This will be a pretty standard set as well. And now it's really just a question of how we want to close this team out, right? First of all, Landorus does not want to be on the field in front of us. That's very good. Opposing Fluttermane may get a little bit annoying. Obviously, we can Terra the Baxcalibur. We have the redirection. But something to keep in mind there would be the Fluttermane. So do we want a Steel type? Do we want a Rillaboom? I don't think Rillaboom and Amoonguss are ideal here. So maybe we do just want a Steel type. Like I said, with between Ursh and Bax, we pressure off the Landorus enough that I think we're kind of okay to have a Steel type. The question is, which Steel type do we want? With Booster Speed Flutter, we could get away with like a little bit of a Goldango option. It is never a bad pick in a format like this. I don't hate it. I'm not like fully against it. I don't love it. King Gambit is another cool option. I don't think it's great. I think King Gambit works a lot better when you have the ability to change terrain, and we do not have the ability to change terrain right now. I mean, we could put Ice Spinner on Urshifu, but I don't think we necessarily need to. Metagross is another interesting option. I'm intrigued, but I feel like Metagross is built for a different video. I feel like Metagross is an entirely different video, so maybe we go with like a Goldango and just have that option. Like we go with like a, I don't know, a Metal Coat Goldango or a Life Orb Goldango and just have immediate pressure that way. My one concern is I don't know if I have the speed control for Goldango, but I really want a Steel type, so we go Goldango and we hope that this is enough speed control. Right? I do worry that it's not going to be enough. Like right now we have Icy Wind on this Fluttermane, and that's our speed control. So that's definitely something I would look at while I'm playing these first few games. But I'm going to do some behind the scenes magic. I'll throw some sets in for you guys, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, we are back in with spreads now. So I had a little bit of second thoughts about Goldango. We'll get into that in a minute. But for right now, we've got our Baxcalibur spread fully in, guys. And this one was done relatively benchmarky. 196 is going to be able to pick up pretty much most of the common Landoruses with the Ice Shard, which is exactly the whole point of Baxcalibur in my opinion. I believe if they're bulkier than like 52-4, it becomes like an 83% chance to kill, which like I'm fine with, realistically speaking. Like nobody in their right mind is going to leave or should be trying to leave their Landorus in front of a Baxcalibur, and we have multiple ways to get extra chip down as well, whether it's with a fake out chip, whether it's Icy Wind chip, you know, whether it's just we're faster with Surging Strikes because we have a Scarf Urshifu, right? So I'm not too worried. You could go up to like, I think it was 244 to pretty much guarantee even the bulkier ones, but I didn't think there was really a need to do that. I like the speed stat we're sitting at here, about 126. That gives us a ability to sit in front of like something like an Ogerpon, which I mentioned that we do have issues with. And now we can Icy Wind, slow it down, we will be faster. I also believe it gets the Adamant Shen Pao, which I thought was kind of a cool option, right? Or a modest Flutter main. We get to go like Icy Wind and then hit them hard before maybe they're even able to move, which is really, really nice. And then realistically, just some general bulk. I believe this lives like Moonblast from like a mediocre Flutter main without needing to tear it into poison, which definitely could help out in the long run. I wonder if Baxcalibur is supposed to be Terra Steel. Actually, no. You want to get out of the fighting weakness. Never mind. You definitely want to get out of the fighting weakness. So we're going to leave it at that, but those are pretty much the benchmarks here. Incineroar, guys, I'm going to be honest. This is bare bones. I have 244, 124. This allows me to survive Earth Powers from every single Landorus. That's the whole point of having an AV, in my opinion. 44 Adamant. I just wanted to do a little bit of extra damage. And being able to Adamant and cheese extra damage and have Incineroar being a damage dealer actually feels pretty good. So 44 Adamant is a little bit nice. Gets some nice damage calc, gets some nice rolls. Nothing crazy, of course, but nice and consistent damage. Rest into defense and speed. I want it to be a little bit faster than somewhere like the Farigiraf that are sitting around 81, 82. So being able to go first there and click knockoff into them is very, very good. So I kind of sat around 83. But other than that, bare bones, we talked about Incineroar. Same with the Fluttermane, guys. I wanted to hit 189 specifically because with Roaring Moon winning to regional, it caps out at 188 with a booster energy. We now have 189 with that booster energy. We will always be faster. So we either pressure it with a Moonblast for a kill, or if we're thinking they're going to Terra, we pressure it with a taunt. And that's really the only calc that I care about here. The rest is 116, 204. It does very good for some Surging Strikes rolls. I would say it's a pretty general number I've been using on Fluttermane for a long time as well. It's pretty good. Rest into special attack, nothing crazy. Amoonguss, guys, nothing to talk about here. You can do whatever you want for Amoonguss. This looks pretty good to me. It felt pretty good to me in earlier testings of different teams. So this is kind of the spread I just kind of pulled. And then I have 48 speed. Once again, we don't really have many ways to deal damage in Trick Room, especially with the Cresselia Ursaluna stuff picking up. So being slower than that Ursaluna, guaranteeing that we're slow, maybe putting a Cresselia to sleep, or if they haven't been burned yet, we can put the Ursaluna to sleep, right? We can Sludge Bomb before the Ursaluna is able to get big damage off in room, and that could be huge on one turn. That's why we're sitting at 48 here. Otherwise, you can pretty much just go back up to 50. Urshifu, nothing crazy, guys. Literally standard choice scarf. 252, 252. I modified it slightly. You can just go 252, 252. No real issue there. The Goldango, I have some doubts here, guys. I don't think Goldango closes this off correctly, but it's meant to be like a quick team build around a Baxcalibur, and I think Goldango has reasonings to be here, right? Like, one of the things that Goldango doesn't love is those ground types, and of course with Baxcalibur here it makes sense. Don't know if I really want to go Terra Fairy. This is something I definitely wanted to talk about in the video, because once again I could just go Terra Water. I could go Terra Dragon, which realistically speaking does give me a lot of leeway versus stuff like Ogerpons, which is pretty cool. I'm actually going to test it. We do get pinned by Flutter, which is a little more annoying than I'd like, but I think overall it's probably fine. The Life Orb Make It Rain at 180 modest is going to be more than enough to deal damage to that Fluttermane and pick up that KO, even on the bulkier ones, which is really, really nice, which is the benchmark I hit there. I hit 179 for the HP to be optimal for Life Orb, nothing crazy. Dumped it into defense because I figured I'd be trying to live maybe some sort of sucker punches or something like that. And then speed, guys, this one was a little bit of a toss-up. 119 is what gets you past, like, Ogerpons at -1. I want it to be a little bit faster than that, so I just kind of dumped it to 121. It's, like, fine. This also gets Tornadus as well, which is pretty cool. Not that Tornadus is going to be at -1 very often, but you never know. It felt like it was right. Once again, when you have these middling speed tiers, for me, especially in a quick build, I wanted to have something that was significant, right? Like, I could put this at 117, 116, but to me that doesn't really line up with anything on a team like this, right? I have Icy Wind, so like I might as well try to capitalize on that Icy Wind here. So I'm not really sure how this team is going to function, but let's go give it a shot. Immediately off the bat, we're gonna get a team. Honestly, I really didn't want to see this, guys. It's not like the end of the world, But between Goldengo and Baxcalibur, actually, maybe we can pin this. It's just a little weird because they're clearly not going to open sheets for us, but that's what we get with best of one. For those of you new to the series, we do tend to go a couple games of best of one, get a feel for the team, try to force Baxcalibur into some games to make sure it sees some spotlight. And then, of course, we'll give you guys a best of three at the end, just because I feel like if it works in best of one, it doesn't always work in best of three. So I like showcasing the best of three. We actually are going to get team sheets. You know, sometimes you just got to be patient with your opponent. Yo, bro said, sure. I appreciate this guy. What a homie. Anyways, Psychic Seed over here makes sense. Sharpness, Clear Amulet. Power Herb is good to see, man. It's going to be tough to bring Baxcalibur into this. Not the worst thing in the world. They're definitely just going to go like Trick Room mode. There is no world where they don't just try to queue up a Trick Room. So because they don't really have anything super slow, I feel like I'm going to go like Urshifu Goldie, because that will force Follow Me. Or a Terra immediately, and I am super content with that. I think Instant is phenomenal outside of King Gambit, but it doesn't really have a way to punish. And I will force Baxcalibur. I think Amoonguss makes sense in this game. But like I said, guys, it's a Baxcalibur video. I am going to force Baxcalibur into these best of one games. I'll be, of course, a little more lenient when we get to best of three. But, right? My concept here is now they're going to go Trick Room, right? They pretty much have to go Trick Room, right? This is where Ice Spinner would be nice, right? So they have to click Follow Me, or they have to tear the Armor Rouge. So because of that, I'm tempted to click like U-turn Nasty Plot, right? And if I get the Follow Me Trick Room, I'm actually in a phenomenal spot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll U-turn them into the Armor Rouge in case they tear grass, and then I'm just going to click Nasty Plot. That's fine. This should just be, once again, that classic, the Follow Me Trick Room. I'll bring Incineroar onto the board, get my plot up here, and now we're kind of in a spot to cook. There's the Trick Room. This is fine. So there's two ways I can do this, and I think the best way to go ahead and do this is to knock off Indeedee to make sure I'm getting a kill, and then just Terra Dragon and Shadow Ball and remove the Armor Rouge from the board. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's a little risky if they just drop a Expanding Force, but if they drop Expanding Force in front of Incineroar or Goldengo, I really don't know what to tell you guys. So there's the Follow Me. There's the knockoff to remove the Indeedee. Thank you to Adamant Incineroar. They do Armor Cannon the Goldengo, so the Terra paying dividends right there. Shadow Ball coming out, going to remove the Armor Rouge, and this is a very good start. We just kind of have to weather the storm, so to speak. That is Speed Booster Moon as well. Really, really good to see. Now, there is actually a case to drop Incineroar's speed to be slower than Gallade, strictly for teams like this. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not too concerned about it. I should be able to maneuver my way through this endgame. I think it's just Make It Rain U-turn. Like, they have to pick one. And I am totally fine clicking Make It Rain U-turn. Psycho Cut going into Goldengo. I am fine with that. U-turn, I get the pivot. There's no setup on the moon. So, like, knockoff or acrobatics really doesn't concern me. In fact, if they knock off my Choice Scarf, I think that's actually better. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Ursh, but it should be an... Yeah, perfect. They're going to try to knock off. That's fine. I wasn't going to let them. Ursh comes in, and once again, immediately back into the Incineroar. Clearly cannot get the Gallade down. But once again, I am in a spot where if the Gallade wants to get Trick Room... if the Gallade wants to kill my Ursh, Instant's still on the board, I get to U-turn, I get to cycle another Intimidate. If Gallade wants to kill the Instant, they're leaving Urshifu here to click Surging Strikes into Gallade. So they're definitely not doing that. So there's a few ways I could do this and let Baxcalibur come in and eat the attack and then have Ursh late game as I U-turn Roaring Moon, which doesn't fully punish. I think Baxcalibur can clean this up regardless of what happens. So, actually, can it? No, it can't. Because of Tailwind. So I'm going to sack Bax and U-turn off the moon. If I get this wrong, it's bad. But that's fine. Baxcalibur not dying is big. We're going to be able to cycle around Urshifu here. And now I get to protect Bax and basically sack the instant next turn, which I'm perfectly fine with. Yeah, this is definitely protect Bax. I wonder if I even need to... They can't protect the Gallade. Assuming we get a kill with Glaive Rush, I think I'm okay to just leave Urshifu on the board here and just click like Surging into Gallade if they let me. They shouldn't let me, but you never know. They are going to let me. Perfect. Well, that's definitely game now. Instant can walk back in, and I'll just Ice Shard fake out. Doesn't really matter. Roaring Moon doesn't get through this. Never gets through the Incineroar at this point. Perfect. Alright. How fitting would it be for me to lose to Sableye? How fitting would it be for me to lose to Sableye? Normally something like this I would cut out because no one really wants to watch Muk Smeargle gameplay. But there's a Sableye, so it's staying in the video, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to play Muk Smeargle. I mean, I have Goldengo, which is cool. I have Taunt on my Flutter main, which is cool. But outside of that, I really don't have much. I'm going to go Flutter main because Taunt Flutter main is really good. I guess I'm just going to go Taunt Flutter main and like set up Goldengo and then just click Make It Rain and hope that's enough. Should be fine, right? Once again, I think Bax is actually pretty good late game here versus something like the Crest and the Amoonguss. And then I think it's Incin? It's Incin or Ursh. Ursh is nice to break through some of the boosts. So if it does get like defense boosts and stuff like that, Ursh makes sense. So they're going to go Muk. They're going to go Smeargle. Time to click Taunt. Time to click Nasty Plot. And because they can't Spore Goldengo, I'm always going to taunt the Muk. They can't fake out either. So they're going to Wide Guard as I taunt the Muk to stop any sort of evasion boosts. Perfect. And now I taunt the Smeargle and I will Nasty Plot. I don't need to Nasty Plot. I'm just going to Make It Rain immediately. There's a chance they're knockoff, and because I don't know if they're knockoff or not, I definitely want to start damaging with the other Mental Herb over there, which is interesting. Make It Rain, of course, not going to work out for me here. And they are struggle. They have no attacking move on the Muk. Well, in that case, I'm going to click Taunt, Make It Rain again. And if they just let me click Make It Rain, both of these pieces are going to go down. And that should be GG versus Muk Smeargle. Yeah, it's the day of the Sableye, guys. I swear, these are just literally the first 3 matches I pulled. Like, I'm not even, like, playing more games. Like, I've literally just pulled 2 Sableyes in my last 2 games, which is actually wild. I'll try to get sheets. I don't know if I will. It's going to be, like, speed boost to Espathra stuff with, like, Gravity Sableye. So, Taunt on Fluttermane makes sense. I don't hate Baxcalibur here. Once again, I don't hate Goldengo either. Gets around to Hypnosis stuff. I'm going to try to go the Goldengo mode, but like if I go Goldengo... No, I'm going to go Bax. I'm going to go Flutter Bax. I like Incin late. And I think it's supposed to be Scarfers. It would be... Excuse me. It would be a lot better if I knew the item on the TU. Of course, unfortunately, I do not. So this is obviously just going to be Gravity Protect. I am going to click Taunt into the Sableye. And I'm pretty sure this Espathra is going to Protect. I'm going to double up into the Sableye. Gravity. There's the Gravity. Taunt. No more shenanigans from the Sableye. And Crash is going to go out. It is a 2-shot. It is a Eject button Sableye. That is actually the worst thing that it could have been. Because I would have liked to have it trapped on the field here, but we'll have to see what they bring in now. I guess the good news is if it is Flutter TU, we get them on the board apart from each other. I mean, like, surely I'm just going to taunt the Espathra. And I might Terra... I don't want to Terra Poison because there's a Psychic type. So I'm just going to crash the Fluttermane, see if they give it to me. I shouldn't be dying. It's booster speed. So even if they drop Moonblast into Baxcalibur shouldn't be dying. Because it actually has stats. Like, yeah, Shadow Ball into Flutter, not going to get the kill. Taunt going into Espathra. This should stop a Hypnosis. Oh, Lumina Crash is cool as well. That's fine. And then Crash into Fluttermane. Going to pick up the KO there. Now, that's not normally going to pick up KOs, guys, on the bulkier Fluttermanes. So just keep that in mind. But I do have it built to pick up, like, Icicle Crash into Ice Shard. Should pick up most of them outside of, like, the crazy bold ones. Which is good to know. And at this point, I think it's just Icy Wind to make sure TU is slower than Baxcalibur and Urshifu in the endgame. So I'm going to go ahead and Icy Wind. Incin with an Assault Vest should just win this game. I'm sending Glaive Rush into Espathra and seeing if I can get a kill. Icy Wind, maybe they're not Scarf, and if they're not Scarfed, we'll just get a kill on Espathra. They are Scarfed, that's fine. So once again, I had no real way to know that. But we get instant Urshifu in. I get to... We know they're not Cover Cloak because the Icy Wind dropped their speed, so I get to click Fake Out and just Surging Strikes into the TU for the kill. And then that opens up the end game of... I mean, they still have Sableye, obviously. And there it is. So maybe I'm supposed to double Espathra there, but I'm not, like, the most concerned. Once again, Incin should win this game at this point. Bax Fluttermane up front did enough damage that this should be, like, fine. Right? So... yeah, honestly, I still don't know your item. I'm just going to knock off Surging and kill Espathra. There's nothing TU can lock into that, like... actually, maybe I'm supposed to Terra Water. Yeah, so I'm definitely supposed to Terra Water. Because Espathra should be clicking, like, Lumina Crash into Ursh. Although, if they click Lumina Crash into Incin and Dark Pulse my Ursh, calling this Terra, is that, like, a problem? They could also now drop the Spore, or the Hypnosis, right? Like, they still technically have one more turn to drop a Hypnosis. It is Terra Dark on the Espathra. The Hypnosis does come out into the Incin. And they do Dark Pulse my Ursh. And get the flinch. So, if there was a world they were going to win, they found it. They are locked into Dark Pulse versus AV Incin, which is good. I go U-turn into Espathra. And I Surging Strikes into the TU if I get the chance to do it. Unfortunately, I do not. Instant, please. Thank you. Get a kill? Alright. See? This is where Adamant Instant is broken. I don't know. I mean, maybe it picks it up regardless, but I want you locked into Dark Pulse. I am fine with that. I'm going to click U-turn. I could knock off. It probably does a little bit more damage. Actually, probably does less. But regardless, you being locked into Dark Pulse is like fine, barring more billion flinches. So AV Instant is just so good in this end game, guys, that like we probably could have got flinched once or twice there. We did get flinched once on the Ursh. Alright, jumping into the best of 3 now, guys. And we get some Flutter Arcanine stuff, but with a little bit of a different spin. You guys can see the team sheet up top there. Some wild stuff going on here. Like the Rocky helmet on the Arc is definitely not something I'm expecting. The Specs Flutter as well. So very clearly a more aggressive variant of a team. I actually think Baxcalibur does very nice into this. Does very well. Right? Because like I can just kind of lead it and park it in front of Flutter Torn. The Dark Ursh is a little annoying, but I'm going to park Bax there. And with the Dark Ursh, I feel like maybe having something like Amoonguss is nice as well. Because basically what I get to do, if they don't lead Ursh, I get to double protect, scout the Fluttermane move, and then figure out if Bax needs to Terra or not. And if Baxcalibur doesn't need to Terra, that's where we start putting on the pressure. That's where we start putting on the damage. I like late game Scarf Ursh a lot, and I think it's supposed to just be instant, at least game 1, just for consistency here. But it's a little bit of a different look on teams we're playing against here. I would have liked to get like a really standard team, but unfortunately on Showdown Ladder, guys, you never really know what kind of team you're going to go up against. But this is like standard enough that like it's actually kind of a cool Sun build. And we're going to see Ogerpon Flutter. So once again, this is just my double protect. I'm kind of curious. And that's what you get to do versus something like a Specs Fluttermane. Like, yeah, it does insane amounts of damage. But if they're going to willingly lead it like a scenario like this, first of all, the Ogerpon does not scare me at all. There's no setup for it. And then Fluttermane, once I figure out what it wants to lock into, I can just make my next move accordingly. My guess is it locks the Fairy move anyways. But if they lock Fairy move, then they're getting redirected by Amoonguss next turn. So maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just go Shadow Ball. Yep, they do lock Gleam, so they're going to set up like Gleam Cudgel pressure. And if they're going to lock Gleam, I have no issues dropping my Terra Poison. I will crash over here and just Sludge Bomb over here. I have zero issues going for this. If they try to redirect with the Ogerpon, they're not pressuring the Baxcalibur. If they just Dazzling Gleam, I'm taking 2 big hits. But that is perfectly fine because Bax is goated. Crash comes out. Once again, non-bulky Fluttermane since they tend to be not so bulky on the Specs ones. And then Ogerpon is here. We're gaming. Cool. So Ursh hits the board. Unfortunately, I cannot redirect the Ogerpon. They haven't Terra'd yet, so that is a Life Orb Ursh. I do worry about a double up into Amoonguss getting a KO. I think my best play is to actually save Baxcalibur and try to just remove the Ogerpon with a Sludge Bomb. And I think I'm okay with that. I know technically I have to eat an Ivy Cudgel here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to eat an Ivy Cudgel here, which is pretty bad. Not the way I wanted this then to go. Oh, that crit me. Okay. Turns out if you get crit, the game is not good. The matchup is a lot less good if you get crit, guys. Don't get crit. I'm going to CC the Ursh because that should force a redirect and potentially either give me a Glaive Rush or just an Urshifu in front of an Urshifu, which is fine. This game's not like the worst thing in the world. Once again, I will kill the Rogerpon. Had Instant come in for free, I have Fake Out CC, which is kind of what I was setting up for. Like, yes, I would have had to take the... Yeah, I think I have this game. Unfortunately, I do lose it now, but that's okay. I was setting up to get Instant beside Ursh is pretty much my endgame that I was going for there. If I get Instant on the board, yes, I risked it. I could have just sacked Baxcalibur, but with the concept of them having Torn in the back, I figured it made sense to like risk it because like I wanted to keep my Baxcalibur, but that's fine. So not that I disagree with having Baxcalibur there, but if they're gonna lock Dazzling Gleam anyways, I wonder if there's a way I'm supposed to play this that's a little different. Like, am I supposed to go AV Instant Ursh, Fake Out Terawatt? Yeah, I definitely am. This loses if there's Giraffe in the back. Not seeing Giraffe last time makes me feel pretty good about this. Booster Flutter is also a very nice potential option here. Late game Goldie is terrible because of the Ursh. I still like Bax. Like, overall, Bax is not a bad bring here. Just because if I can get it in a spot where I don't have to tear it, I think I'm going to try that once again. Because once again, if I don't have to tear it, it takes hits. I think I just took too much early. Like, I tear it and still took too much, right? Had I protected turn 1 and spored, that would have probably just been the correct adjustment there, right? Because then Bax doesn't die. Mungus was never dying to any sort of double up. I get the spore down, Flutterman goes to sleep, and then I would have had Baxcalibur. Yeah, so that would have been the correct way for me to approach game 1. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more aggressive here game 2 with the fake out crash stuff. If that doesn't work, or if it does work, I should say, I'll go back to game 3. I'll probably go back to game 1. Just because I'll be more worried about Farigiraf. They're actually going to go Torn Ogerpon. So, not ideal, but I can fake out the Torn, technically. This is just like U-turn to break a Sash. I'd rather break the Sash and then bring him back. I don't think there's a Giraffe. So could I click fake out? Absolutely. Do I think there's a world where maybe they just decided, yeah, I'm going to bring the Giraffe? Maybe, which is why I think I lose too much momentum if I click fake out and they do bring in the Giraffe. See what I mean? They are just going to tail when this is super fine. I get the U-turn chip. What do we got on this Giraffe? Nothing crazy, in all honesty. So I think I'm just going to go into my Ursh because that should force, like, I guess I worry about Bleakwind at this point. Maybe I go immediately back into Instant and just, like, I'm tempted to drop just a crash into the Farigiraf. Yeah, I like that the most. Just want to chip it into U-turn range is effectively what I'm looking for. We're going to double dodge a Bleakwind, which is pretty big, pretty important. Hyper Voice is like fine. That should be U-turn range. Once again, I am that more offensive Instant. This is something you could consider when building the Instant as well. Maybe looking for a specific calc here between Icicle Crash and U-turn. I'm going to U-turn out if they let me. And I am just going to protect the back because I don't really want to be letting it go down or taking more damage than it needs to. Instant should be able to make it through this turn and get a U-turn off of this Giraffe, which would be pretty good. Ursh hits the board. Giraffe is going to protect. That is a very good play from our opponent. So now they're going to what? Close combat my Instant? They can't kill both, right? Like the Giraffe doesn't pressure a single kill right now. So I think what I do is I go U-turn and I'm going to Glaive Rush. Time to remove the Giraffe from the board, right? Basically, I'm going to pin them. I'm going to get the Giraffe off the board. And then hopefully that should be enough for me to clutch this game up with Fake Out and Surging Strike. So they Wicked Blow the Baxcalibur, which I'm super fine with. Hyper Voice comes out, not going to get a KO. U-turn comes out, actually doesn't kill the giraffe, which I would normally be upset about. But given the scenario that we're in with Tailwind ending, I don't actually hate this. So they should switch out Ursh. There's no reason for them to leave the Ursh on the board. So I'm tempted to Surging Strikes it, because if it is a switch back into the Tornadus, I'd rather get the kill there. And then once again, I'm just going to U-turn off the giraffe. Yeah, they're going to go Ogerpon, which I guess in fairness, I probably should have known it was Ogerpon. But that is a fast giraffe. Considering at the beginning, they actually have speed investment. That is really bad. Now I'm locked into Surging. I should have just CC'd. I win if I click CC, by the way. Actually, no, I just lose to Torn if I CC, so... Maybe I'm supposed to U-turn off of it. Yeah, U-turn was free. U-turn, get Gus in on that side, and then U-turn back into Giraffe. Yeah. Back into Earth. Yeah. Okay. Horribly played best of 3 from my end, but what can you do? Bro, they are taking their time. It really just needs to be Torn. I guess Torn brings upon the decision of, can I tease them? Which... There's almost a world where maybe that I can't. They're actually going to bring in the Ursh first. I'm going to go immediately into Incin. And this is not over because of this. And I think I get to Sludge Bomb because they should redirect. There's no reason for them not to redirect and just start spamming Wicked Blow. So I will Sludge Bomb into the Ogerpon, I think. They should follow me. Wicked Blow, Incin, unfortunately, does go down to that. And Sludge Bomb comes out into Ogerpon. Now I get the world where maybe there's a chance that they don't click Follow Me. Right? Because why in the right mind would I click Terra Water Surging Strikes and blow up this Urshifu right now? Right? And if I can get that, there is a world I win this game. Like, that's to me the cheese that wins me this game. Right? Because even if I close combat on a redirect and kill the Ogerpon, I'm losing. I guess I could close combat. I don't need to burn the Terra Water, and then I can save Terra Water. Yeah. Yeah, I close combat, and I think it is a Spore? No, it should be Sludge Bomb. I really do want to remove Ogerpon here. Technically, there's a world where if I get this called 100%, I'm winning. So if I'm calling no follow me, I should be clicking CC Sludge Bomb. CC comes out, Urshi goes down. If Sludge Bomb can get a kill, we're okay. It won't get the kill because of the Horn Leech, but Poison. Poisons are always a thing. Never mind, we crit them. Let's go. We're back in it, baby. Let's go, Amoonguss. Alright. They do have Taunt, so I'm just going to Terra Water and drop a Sludge Bomb. We're back. We've never been more back. We have a Citrus Berry. Sludge Bomb adding up some damage here. I would like to Spore. I guess if I Spore on a turn they taunt, it doesn't really matter. So, like, that was just a dead turn, right? Obviously, Sludge Bomb, clicking Sludge Bomb there wins me the game. But with my Citrus Berry and a chance for Bleakwind to miss, as it did right there, looks like we're going to come up clutch. And Amoonguss, you know what? When in doubt, Amoonguss clutches up, guys. Amoonguss clutches up. All right, so we clearly have a Tornadus problem. Clearly have a Tornadus problem. This might be reason enough to bring Goldango, but honestly, that just loses to the Dark Urge more. So, I liked game 1, and I like game 1 as well going into what they did game 2. And I think game 1, I just go for, like, Protect Spore, like I said, that would be the adjustment anyways. Definitely got a little bit bailed game 2, but you know what? Sometimes that happens, and you just got to accept the fact that the game has blessed you with another opportunity. So here we are. The best of 3 did drag a little, guys, so apologies. But they really should have always just clicked follow me, because Ursh Torn always wins the game, right? They always should follow me, right? There's no reason not to, because then they just Wicked Blow, and Wicked Blow kills Ursh. And even if I Spore the Ursh, they have a Torn and an Ursh, and Amoonguss can't deal with both. But because they let me kill the Ursh, and yeah, I got lucky with the crit, right? if I don't get the crit, they probably still win the game. But the other way, even if I get a crit, they still win the game. So, right, they played themselves to a spot where they lose to the crit, as opposed to where they just always get the win if they just follow me, right? So, and I get it, right? I have an Ogre Pawn, right? So why would you, you should just click follow me. They're actually going to go Ogre Pawn Ursh. I am very tempted to Glaive Rush Urshifu right now. I could also just redirect. This is where having like late game Dazzling Gleam Fluttermane would be nice, right? Which is definitely an interesting option. Like if you go Specs Flutter and then have like a speed control option instead of Goldango, I think that's super valid on a team like this. Yeah, I'm very tempted to just Glaive Rush into the Ursh. Like, what are they going to do about it? And then just Glaive Rush Sludge Bomb kills the Ursh, right? That's in theory here. That's the concept. If they decide to redirect, I'm fine with this. If they redirect, I kill the Ogre Pawn. If they don't redirect, well, then it's fine. So I lose the Baxcalibur. Could have clicked Spore. Sludge Bomb comes out. Now I need to find a way to get Fake Out beside my Urshifu. So I go Ursh. I definitely think I could have spored. I definitely probably could have spored. I think my early games have been very bad in terms of how I'm supposed to be utilizing my Baxcalibur here, and I haven't been capitalizing on it. So, U-turn? It's definitely U-turn Sludge Bomb. Because they're locked into Wicked Blow. Sludge Bomb will now kill the Ogre Pawn, which will allow me to get Surging Strikes off for free on following turns. Wicked Blow is fine. Amoonguss does not die. And we're going to get the Sludge Bomb. We're going to kill off the Ogre Pawn. Life Orb Urshifu, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, Life Orb Dark Urshifu is terrifying for our team. They're going to bring in the Giraffe, which, in all honesty, isn't that bad for me. I think this is knockoff and bring in Ursh. Because that only really loses to Psychic coming out of the Giraffe, but they should always want to be clicking Hyper Voice first. Or Trick Room for that matter. Right? They're thinking, I can remove Amoonguss and get a Trick Room onto the board is another potential option. I think I can safely get Ursh onto the board. And by safely, I mean I'm going to take 96 million%. But I think I can get it onto the board. I'm expecting, they switch to CC. Incin eats the CC. Is it Hyper Voice here? They do Psychic. I guess that's fair if they're under the assumption that they're going to get a kill. But like, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe I was supposed to Terra Grass on that. I should have spored turn 1 is what should have happened, but the Farigiraf being faster than Incin is really messing with me, by the way. Yeah, that's game. Wicked Blow should just kill the Gus, right? It doesn't, but they Hyper Voice, so. I was fully expecting Incin to be faster than this Giraffe. Obviously, they have speed for the Tailwind stuff, but that's fine. Just a poorly played best of 3 from my end, guys. I'm okay to say that. I don't think I played that very well at all. Okay, back into the team. The Dark Ursh actually became a problem at the end there. Maybe I'm supposed to, once again, I feel like a more aggressive form of Fluttermane could be nice here. And then, like, Goldango being a more dedicated form of speed control could be a very good adjustment. Baxcalibur didn't really feel too bad. It did kind of force a lot of 50-50s that I didn't like. I don't know if I really pulled, like, great matchups for it. I would have liked to have pulled, like, you know, a Bolt Balance team or something like that, right? Didn't manage to get those in. But overall, I mean, the concept of Baxcalibur was cool. Right? I think overall, like I enjoyed Baxcalibur. I don't think it was ever bad. Having a ground move on it could have been nice. Would have been an adjustment to make. Having a way to get to +1, so maybe pairing it beside something like a Gouging Fire with Howl could be a different way to build out Baxcalibur here, of course. And then, like, you know, you go Baxcalibur, you go Specs Flutter, and you go Gouging Fire. And the Gouging Fire gets the booster. You get to go Howl, you get Breaking Swipe stuff. And then, like, that becomes a little bit more of a different build. I didn't hate Baxcalibur. I thought it was pretty good overall. Overall, I'm not sure if this is the team for it. AV Instant is broken though, guys. That's if we learned anything, AV Instant is broken. And I really did kind of like the AV Instant Flutter Baxcalibur stuff when we got it going. We didn't get it going very often, but just the concept of Baxcalibur was good. I enjoyed it. Of course, guys, as always, the pace for this team will be down below. Let me know. There'll be a comment down there about which Pokemon you guys want to see me use next on this series, so feel free to respond to that as well. But overall, guys, if you are enjoying this type of content, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help with the channel. I really do appreciate it. And with that, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in a future video.